Hello and welcome to the Variety 2016 Yorkshire Property Awards. I may have said this before, but this year really has been a very special year for property in the Yorkshire region.
I want to build you up, brick by brick. I want to break you down, brick by brick. I'm gonna reconstruct, brick by brick.
Yes, that tune from a Yorkshire band, I'll have you know, seems to perfectly sum up the property market here, with many landmark developments taking shape brick by brick across the different property sectors.
I think there's a massive buzz about Yorkshire in general actually. Our patch sort of goes all the way up to Newcastle and down to Sheffield, and in every city there is exciting things happening across offices, industrial, new sectors such as PRS, residential, student resi. So it's a busy time we're in at the moment with some really good work being done across the industry.
So time now to dig a bit deeper into some of those property sectors, starting with retailing. We'll hear more about this development later on, but elsewhere in the county, well, you could almost hear the sighs of relief when Bradford's infamous hole in the road at last became a viable retail scheme. And the voice of retailing very much featured on our judging panel for this year's awards.
The property market in Yorkshire is hugely diverse, and it's about if we can be part of the best schemes in the best location. That's absolutely crucial for us. Things are starting to happen, they're starting to happen in a big way, and the building blocks are there in place.
On the industrial front, it's interesting that retailing is helping to influence a significant change in that market.
Shops on the high street are now very much operating over the internet, and this principle of a shop is now a showroom and a warehouse is now the retail outlet is becoming quite prevalent. So the principle of last mile distribution, the principle of industrial property taking over the mantle to some degree of retail, so that whole delivery principle is now a very different offer.
And what about that northern powerhouse and the promises of HS2 to power people between north and south? Or is it more about HS3 connecting east with west? Either way, more home rule is important on the property agenda.
We fundamentally believe in the northern powerhouse. Developers and investors will place their money where they believe they're going to get the right return in the right time, and a lot of that comes from the attitudes of the local governments in the area. Are they willing to do business with the private sector? And the authorities, no matter what their size, whether they're big or small, that recognise that the private sector will bring the growth, are the ones that are succeeding. And I think the Leeds City Council and the LEP and the other local authorities in the area are very forward thinking. We work nationally, and the approach of the local authorities and the LEP in the region is second to none.
But another type of home rule agenda is also influencing our property sectors and investors, according to our judging panel. Yes, Yorkshire may have hosted Tour de France, but when it comes to the question of staying in or out of Europe, well, it will be a brave person to call it. But you can always trust a lawyer to look at both sides of the argument, can't you?
It's been a very active market for us, but there are some warning signs. I suppose people are concerned about Brexit. They're concerned that maybe the market's topped out, and that might actually lead people to pause, that there's going to be this mismatch between expectations of what a seller can get and what a buyer will pay, and that actually might lead to a slowing of the market over the next few months.
If the decision is to stay in, then hopefully we'll just see business as usual pick up, and indeed we might see a little peak of activity while people catch up for lost time. If though the decision is to leave, I'm not convinced it'll be business as usual for quite some time.
But that's the future. Let's finish this report by looking back through a couple of barometers of that fantastic Yorkshire property scene that we're celebrating. Starting with the architects, who after all design all the stuff we're giving awards for tonight.
I'd say we've been really busy the last 12 months. The practice is growing, the other architects in the city all seem to be growing with plenty of enthusiasm, and the clients are buoyant.
And when you're looking at barometers for the property market, you can do worse than to look at marketing and communications, because those budgets are often the first to be cut when times are bad. Here too, as the Yorkshire market picks up, we are seeing change.
There has been a notable uplift in companies that are seeing the value now of marketing and PR activity. So social media, for example, is becoming a lot more recognised as an influencing tool.
So that's a brief introduction to some of the amazing projects that have been considered by our judges for tonight's awards. I'm finishing this section of the video outside the UK's newest railway station. It's here in Kirkstall, but I'm not here to catch a train. You're going to see more of this in our Game Changers videos coming up shortly. Bye for now.